Cable's origin in Marvel Comics is one of the most convoluted in X-Men history. But in the Ultimate Universe, he isn't Nathan Summers. He's Wolverine, a hardened survivor from the future. This version of Logan lost his healing factor, his arm, and nearly everything else. But instead of fading away, he fought harder, stronger, colder. And when he uncovered the horrors awaiting the X-Men, he did the only thing he could. He traveled back in time. Not to save them, to stop them. And in this story, he's already here. The X-Mansion was never truly quiet. Tonight should have been a celebration, Jean Grey's 21st birthday. Instead, she sat alone in her room, staring at an unopened gift from Scott. Too much had happened. Too much was still happening. Meanwhile, Professor Charles Xavier had just returned from a rare night out with Lilandra when a visitor awaited him. Quicksilver, of all people. No pleasantries. Just a package from Nick Fury. Inside, a power-dampening bracelet designed to suppress Jean's abilities should they spiral out of control again. Xavier sighed. Maybe it was necessary. Maybe it wasn't. He'd have to talk to Jean. Down in the danger room, Wolverine and Storm sparred, steel meeting lightning as they tore through hard light projections of the Liberators. Sparks flew, literally, but Ororo shut it down. She had bigger concerns. Kitty Pryde felt sick. She tried telling the professor, but he was always elsewhere, like in the infirmary, where he struggled to repair Nightcrawler's shattered mind. But Kurt wouldn't let him in. Then came the moment of impact. The mansion was breached. A figure stepped through the shadows, moving like a ghost. He knew every inch of the school, every power, every weakness, and his target was clear. He had come to kill Charles Xavier. The X-Men mobilized instantly. Cyclops fired his optic blasts. Storm summoned lightning. Colossus charged in. But their opponent was faster, stronger, more prepared. Kitty phased through him until he jammed a knife into her chest. Not a blade, a power-dampening device. Remove it, and she'd bleed out. Leave it in, and she was helpless. Then Wolverine struck. The enemy countered, too well. He moved like Logan, and then with a sharp snicked, adamantium claws extended from his hand. Logan gritted his teeth. That's not possible. Cable stared him down. 30 years without a healing factor. 30 years getting stronger. I don't pop my claws for just anyone, Logan. The fight was brutal. Claws clashed, blood spilled. The stranger hinted at secrets Logan didn't understand. Sabretooth's mother, his wife. Every strike felt personal. Then, Logan got impaled through the chest. Cable leaned in, his voice low. You have no idea what I've lived through. If you did, you'd kill Xavier yourself. Logan refused to stay down, but the enemy was prepared. A high-intensity flash blinded Wolverine, forcing him to stumble back. Logan growled, "Who the hell are you?" The light faded, the missing arm, the familiar but hardened face. It was him, Logan, from the future. Before he could react, Cable slammed a power-dampening device onto his chest, electrocuting him into unconsciousness. Cable sheathed his claws, barely standing from the pain. He hated using them, but they always seemed like such a good idea at the time. Then the X-Men surrounded him. Cyclops blasted him point blank. Iceman tried to freeze him. Colossus hurled him through a wall, but Cable was always one step ahead. He melted the ice, knocked Colossus out with gas, and set up his escape. Then, the final blow. He didn't just attack the X-Men, he took one of them, Jean Grey. Cyclops pounded on an energy barrier, shouting, "Jean!" But Cable activated a portal, dragging her with him. Before stepping through, he turned to Xavier. "You know what I want. I'll be in touch." And just like that, he was gone. The mansion lay in ruins, silent, broken. Kitty lay in the infirmary, the device no longer embedded in her chest. Storm sat beside her. He forced a surgeon a few miles away to see through his eyes, Ororo said. Told him what to do telepathically. Kitty sighed. "I came here to learn to control my powers, not fight psychos every week." Ororo gave a small, sad smile. "I just want to finish my play." Kitty perked up. "You write plays?" Ororo nodded. "Started a long time ago. Hank was the only one who ever read it before." Kitty hesitated. "I'd like to read it." Ororo smiled. "Maybe later." Kitty looked down. "After we get Jean back, I think I'm leaving." Storm said nothing. Meanwhile, in Xavier's study, Scott Summers stood with his arms crossed, his jaw clenched. He watched as the professor removed the Cerebro helmet. There was no relief on Xavier's face, only regret. "I didn't sense anything." Scott's stomach tightened. "You mean she's gone?" Xavier shook his head. "No, she isn't dead, but it's as if she isn't on this planet anymore." Scott didn't like that answer. Xavier continued, "The technology that man used against us, it must be masking their presence from Cerebro. That means Jean is alive. We just have to figure out how to find her." Scott didn't just want to find her, he needed to. "Do you know who he was? What he wanted?" Xavier's eyes darkened. "He came here to kill me." Scott clenched his fists. "Then he's going to try to trade your life for Jean's." Xavier nodded grimly. Scott didn't hesitate. We can't let that happen, but we can't let him keep Jean either. The question remained, how do you stop a man who already knows your every move? Down in the infirmary, Wolverine was searching for clues. He crouched, drawing a circle on the floor where their attacker first appeared, trying to pick up a whiff of something, a trace, anything. Then, a burst of blue light filled the room. Kitty shielded her eyes. Logan snapped his claws out as another figure stepped through. Older, hardened, desperate. His eyes scanned the room before locking onto Logan. "Where's Cable?" he demanded. "Did he get here yet? Is there still time?" Logan stepped forward, claws glinting. "First of all, bub, lower your damn voice. Second, who the hell are you?" The man exhaled sharply. He was too late. In Xavier's study, Scott and the professor were deep in thought when a new voice cut through the air. For starters, they turned to see Logan walking in, a man slumped unconscious over his shoulders. His name is Cable. Logan tossed the body down like a sack of bricks. Scott stared. "And who's this?" Logan smirked. "Beats me, but he knows more about Cable than we do." Scott didn't waste time. He grabbed the unconscious man's collar and demanded answers. The man groaned, his eyes fluttering open. Xavier raised a hand, calming Scott. He studied the stranger. His uniform was similar to Cable's, but different. "Tell us what you know." The man exhaled. "First of all, do I really look like I came here to hurt you? At my age? My name is Bishop. I came from the future, same as Cable." Xavier narrowed his gaze. "And why are you here?" Bishop's expression darkened. "Because Cable came here to kill you." Scott tensed. "And you?" Bishop locked eyes with Xavier. "I came here to save you." Meanwhile, somewhere in the cold corridors of time, Cable waits, watching, knowing that what comes next isn't just about Jean, it's about all of them, and the future they're racing toward. To be continued. The battle for the future has only just begun. Subscribe for the next chapter.